Okay, so our final speaker for this session at 21 years of age is Cara Gifford. Cara is no stranger to leadership, currently studying to be a teacher. Cara is also a passionate advocate for the rights of people who experience a disability and has been involved in the youth leadership team with Kid X since its commencement in 2021. Cara is currently the youngest member of Sunbury Coburg Community Health's Community Reference Group. Cara's advocacy work was recognised by the City of Hume last year when she was awarded the Young Leaders Advocacy Award. Today, Cara will explore some of the themes about accessibility and inclusion. Please put your hands together and welcome Cara Gifford.
Good morning, everyone. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of land in which we are meeting today, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Just before we get started today, my presentation today has some acknowledgements of diversities of people, and at any time if you feel uncomfortable, please feel free to leave during the presentation, and if you need to seek out Sunbury Coburg Community Health staff member after the presentation, please do. So I better introduce myself before I get into it. So my name is Cara. I'm a young person living with a physical disability, and living life as a young person with a disability is the topic of my workshop today. So today, after my presentation, we're going to do a little bit of activities over there to the side and sort of put you into the life of a young person with a disability. So what can I do as a young person with a disability? It's a question a lot of people get asked. Is my life any different to anyone else? Do I have a different lifestyle? So we're going to have a look at that. I definitely still get to have some fun. This is Ability Fest this year. This is my best friend Jackson with Dylan Orcott. And last year I went zip-lining in Adelaide, which was pretty exciting. And this was probably my highlight of this year was going to the 2023 Ability Fest, which was my first time going, and it was absolutely amazing. Do I still travel? I sure do. I've done lots of travelling in the last year, most of it with my travel buddy Austin, who you can see there. I love travelling and exploring new places. However, airports are not always the most accessible places. Ramps are really steep and long mazes like barricades and security guards who often don't understand physical boundaries. With that being said, the majority of my adventures have been pretty amazing so far. So what do I do with my day-to-day life? I have just started my third year of my Prep to 12 teaching degree, and I have just started a new job at a primary school as an education support officer. At the end of May, I also finished up my job working at Cricket Victoria after two and a half year stint of doing that. I'm working in various kinds of roles. So what I'm saying is that I live a life much like other people. It has its ups and downs, highlights and lowlights. The difference between my life and an able-bodied person is how I have adapted my everyday needs and activities to meet my personal abilities. The way of adapted living is often seen amongst people living with chronic disease and disability. You've just seen and heard that I have a great, fulfilling life. So why are there so many negative misconceptions about young people with disabilities? According to the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare, as of July 2022, 9.3% of young people aged 15 to 24 in Australia have a disability. Now, even though this is a small percentage compared to the rest of the youth population, it is still a significant amount of young people who are a part of our society, our schools, workplaces, communities. Today, I want to expose you all to some of these misconceptions I have been exposed to as a young person with a disability, by sharing with you some of my experiences and to bring to light the negative treatment and difficulties young people with disabilities face when in public. I have had a disabled parking sticker for many years now, and now that I drive, it sits permanently in my car. Not only does the parking permit allow for closer parking, but it also allows for a wider car park that gives me space to swing in and out of the car without hitting another car or person. Some people in our society are not very accepting of young people in disabled car spots. Apparently, I am young and I can do everything. I cannot tell you the number of times I have had arguments with people, specifically people of the elderly community, because I have parked where I need to. How dare you park when you don't need it? Most of the time, people apologise when I get out of the car with my sticks or wheelchair, but sometimes it escalates. I have had people spit on my car, yell in my face, damage my car. About a year and a half ago, I was in my doctor's for my monthly appointment, and I had parked my car in the disabled parking spot like I always did. And upon my arrival back to the car, I had noticed that my driver's side mirror cover had been dislodged from my mirror, and of course I was shocked because I didn't leave the car like that. I proceeded to go back inside the clinic like this and told them what had happened. And they checked the cameras, and it was evident that an elderly man had raised his walking stick and hit my car and mirror, causing the damage. The clinic knew who the man was, and they contacted the police, but nothing further was recorded. Now, how likely is this that this incident would happen to me and any other age group? Would they experience this? It's very unlikely. There are some everyday difficulties that can be challenging that not everyone would think of. How does one reach the item at the top of the shelf at the supermarket from the wheelchair? Or get up a flight of steps when there is no elevator available to use? I want to be a social person, but how do I see my friends and family if they live in a 2-storey home? Or those cobblestone paths in Melbourne, and the horrible vibrations it sends through my chair when I attempt to roll down them. There are so many things in society that are great for the majority, but can be really difficult for myself and many other people with a range of disabilities. And sometimes I just want to scream to everyone that why can't society be fit to me and other people? But I know it will be overlooked because my condition is not a priority in our society. So from this information, we're all going to get up in a minute and move into 3 little eye-opening activities in the workshop element of this talk. I want you to feel what it's like to live with a disability, and from this I hope you can take away some new ideas on how to include and treat people with a physical disability, and then hopefully take these practices back to your life and educate others. If at any time you feel uncomfortable, please don't hesitate to sit out of the workshop. We're going to be, in 2 of the activities, be getting quite close to each other, so if you don't feel comfortable having people leaning over you or standing quite close to you, please don't hesitate to sit out. So if you wouldn't mind, we're all going to get up and we're going to make our way to that side of the room. So you are a young person who uses a wheelchair. You have gone to the supermarket to get the ingredients for your dinner. The next products you need is on the top shelf and you cannot reach. You can see that the people around you are getting frustrated, but you really need the ingredient. You try and reach again, but you can't. So let's flip this scenario quickly before we get into it. You see this happening, but you do not want to be rude. Do you ask the person if they need help or just lean in and get the ingredient for them? So what we're going to do is we're going to get in small groups of maybe 4 or 5. Bring a chair in, someone sit in the chair, and I want you to experience what it's like for someone to lean over you and feel what that's like. Do you ask the person if they need help or just lean in and get the ingredient for them? So if you're a person around you, try and lean in over the person. It probably feels really uncomfortable. So from this, do we think that we should ask the person if they need help or just lean in over them? Yeah, definitely ask. So I know that if I'm in my chair and need to reach something and someone's leaning over me, I'm pretty uncomfortable because I don't know the person. And I still want to be really independent. So ask first, okay?
This is my safety barrier, and if you're leaning in it, I don't like it. Awesome. So the next one we're going to do is a scenario on public transport. So again, we're going to need the chairs, and this is the one where we're actually going to get quite close to each other more than what we did. So the scenario is you're on the train in your wheelchair and someone comes and leans on the back of your chair on the handles. There are no seats and the person thinks it's fine because they're tired after a long day at work. How does that feel? Like, it doesn't feel super nice, does it? Especially if it's a stranger in a scenario where, so this is it's my mum, but imagine if it was someone you didn't know. I've seen it happen plenty of times on trains. It's not very nice. Even though this is my chair, and it's an extension of my body, people think it's okay to come and invade it. And it's the same with people using, walking sticks and stuff, I'm going to come and play with your walking sticks, same sort of thing. I don't want to invade your space and take your things. So our third activity is just using the butcher's paper. So getting in groups of 4 or 5, can you think about any times you've seen people acting inappropriately around disabled people? So it can be based on any disability, and think about how the situation should have been respectively responded to. So on the paper, I want you to write about how you would have responded respectively. I don't want to know about the scenario because that's private. I want to know about how you would have responded respectfully. So is there one from this table here that anyone would like to share? And I'll pass the microphone over to you.
I think we have one here it's worded interestingly, but educate the space invader. Yeah. Obviously you need to, if they have invaded someone's space, as a bystander, as an onlooker, rather than putting the onus on the person with the disability to educate, if you see something like that happening, you should help to educate the person that this isn't okay, and this is what you can do in the future.
There's one here that's about if you see something, where someone's not respecting someone's space or rights, then say something. But on the other side, there's also don't speak on someone's behalf just because you think you should. People got their own voices and all. Yeah.
That's the conclusion of my talk and workshop. I just want to thank you all for taking part. I know that could have been a little bit intimidating for you all, but I hope you've all learned something that you can take away today and apply into your everyday lives, and hopefully maybe do some further education on. So thank you very much.